All right. It appears we're going to see if my cat behaves because this guy has been popping up all over. He wants to come over here and he wants to participate in some math. But we'll see if he behaves, and you might get some cat with your factoring. So we're going to talk about four ways to solve these quadratic equations, okay? And in the homework, I highly recommend you do the way that it specifies, but on the quizzes and on the exams, you can solve these whatever the heck way you want, right? Well, that's not true. You can solve these in any of these four ways, okay? I'll try to be accurate here. So the first and easiest for some people, not easiest for others, is to solve things by factoring. So like if we get something like example 1, solve the problems. Part A, x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Whenever possible, you should try to solve things by factoring. It's going to be very quick, and you're likely going to make very few mistakes. So if we have something equal to 0 and you factor it, factored things equal to 0 are very easy to solve. It's just true in each part is 0. So we try to factor this. It's a trinomial. We factor trinomials like this. Okay. What do we need to get x squared? The only answer is x and x. And then do we have pluses here or minuses? So this first thing always tells you that's a plus, so that's a plus. These will always match. The unsure thing is the second one. If it's a plus here, that means that we do the same thing. If it's a minus here, it means we do something different. So the reason this is a minus is because it's opposite. This says opposite the first one. Be very careful with this one. It doesn't just mean, oh, minus, minus. This is plus, plus. This minus means opposite, though. Okay, so we need something that multiplies the 21, that adds that whose difference is 4. You can think about it as multiplying to negative 21, add to whatever. So we're going to do plus 7 and minus 3. Plus 7 minus 3, that multiplies the negative 21. If you add 7 and negative 3 together, you get 4. So, principle of zero product says that if we have two things multiplied by each other equal to 0, that's true in each piece equals 0. So it's true when the first thing equals 0 and when the second thing equals 0. Subtract 7 from both sides to get x is negative 7. Add 3 to both sides, get x is positive 3, and you have your answers. And always, 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 if you have time on a quiz or an exam, check your answers. Right? How do we check this? Well, let's check two answers. If x is negative 7, is this statement true? Get negative 7 squared, again, remember those parentheses, plus 4 times negative 7 minus 21, is that equal to 0? You type that onto your calculator, you're getting 49 plus negative 14 minus, plus negative 28 minus 21 equals 0. Yes, you will. Plug that in on a calculator. And you can do the same thing for 3. Plug that in, right? 3 squared plus 4 times 3 minus 21. Is that equal to 0? And it would be. Okay? 9 plus 12 minus 21 is 0. That's how you solve things by factoring. And again, usually you want to factor whenever it's easy. So 4x squared minus naught equals 9. This is usually not a very good factoring situation, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. So to solve by factoring, we need a 0 over here. This is a 9, not a 0. They look kind of similar, but they're not the same thing. We need to move that 9 over there. Subtract 9 from both sides. You get 4x squared minus 9 equals 0. This is not a trinomial. This is a binomial. Bi is 2. Tri is 3. 2. All right? Those are the official mathematical sound effects, by the way. So this is a harder thing to factor for a lot of people, even though it's only a binomial. And the thing to look at is this is something squared minus something else squared. This is the difference of squares formula, just like before, right? A squared minus b squared is a minus b times a plus b. So this is something squared minus something else squared. What do we have to square in order to get 4x squared? And the answer is 2x. What do we have to square to get 9? And the answer is 3. We get 2x minus 3, 2x plus 3 equals 0. And now again, we use the principle of zero products. It's very important that this is a 0. This is 0. That's good. If it's not a 0, we have got some serious problems. I'll show you what that looks like. No, I won't, apparently. But make it 0. So at this point, this is true when the first thing equals 0 and when the second thing equals 0. You just solve these individually. Add 3 to both sides, 2x is 3. Divide both sides by 2, you get x is 3 halves. And again, I like improper fractions. You could rewrite this if you wanted to. Over here, right, we subtract 3 from both sides to get 2x equals negative 3. Divide both sides by 2, and you're going to x is negative 3 halves. And those are our answers here. Check your answer with the calculator here as well. Just make sure to include parentheses around this. You check this with a calculator. Make sure that 4 times parenthesis, negative 3 halves, end parenthesis, squared is 9, and it will be. All right, so the last thing, I'm going to go through it kind of fast. If you want to study this last thing I'm doing, if you want more help, contact me, okay? Canvas, Slack, Discord, not Discord, Canvas, Slack, or email are all good stuff, okay? So the last one right here is 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. I only recommend factoring in problems like this if you're factoring lover, okay? Because it's a lot harder to factor if you have a number in front of the x squared. So I'm going to go through this quick, show you how to do it, but I'm not going to really teach it. So if you need more of these, ask me and I'll show you where to look. Okay, so we factor this with the AC method. We multiply the first number by the last number. We get 30. We need something that multiplies to 30. It adds to the middle term 17. So find a bunch of different patterns. 1 and 30, nope. 2 and 15, yep. And we split up that middle term. This becomes 2x plus 15x plus 5. The 17x gets split up into the two numbers that we picked, 2 and 5. Because 2x plus 15x is 17x. So we haven't changed anything. It just looks a little different, but it's the same stuff. And now we factor by grouping. So in this group, we can take out a 2x and we're left with 3x plus 1. In the second group, we can take out a 5 and we're left with 3x plus 1. Those will always be the same if you did your work right, okay? And now, this is a binomial. It's one term plus another term. They have a common factor, the 3x plus 1. So we factor out the 3x plus 1. What's left from the first term if we get rid of a 3x plus 1? It's only left with a 2x. What's left with the second term if we take out a 3x plus 1? We're only left with a 5. And lo and behold, we have factored. So the right-hand side is equal to 0. That's good. If the right-hand side's not 0, we messed up. Okay? So this is true when each piece is equal to 0. So you just solve these individually like we did before. I'll go through this kind of quick. Subtract 1, you get 3x equals negative 1. Divide by 3, you get x equals negative a third. Subtract 5, you get 2x equals negative 5. Divide by 2, you get x equals negative 5 halves. And those are your two answers. As a little bonus at the end of this video, since it was a little longer than the previous ones, I'm going to give you a bonus piece of information. If you are petting your cat, do not itch your face. You will get cat hair on your face, which will make your face even itchier, which will get more cat hair on your face. Also, be careful about touching your face right now anyway. It's a good way to, it's not very healthy to touch your face at the current moment. Anyway, do problems 6 through 18 even. Factor them. It's even good practice. Practice the AC method. Practice factoring with difference of squares like up here, 6 through 18. Go ahead. Keep going.